Hi, welcome to Bernama today. Nadia Abdul Latif and Sonia Aisha with me, together with our guest, Mr. Ratnakumar Nadarajan, CEO and Director of Mojo Project. So today we're going to be discussing about concert organising in Malaysia. As you know, in the recent months, we've seen not only international acts coming to Malaysia, but as well as new homegrown talent that's being done. But we want to ask him about what are the challenges, the joys and the tribulations of concert organising in Malaysia. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Yes, hi. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Could you tell us a little bit about the concert organising scene in Malaysia?
I think Malaysia's got a very active entertainment scene, right? So what we do basically in Mojo projects is we do international concerts. Currently we are focusing on the Indian segment. And of course, we also plan to go into the Malay and the English segment soon. So I think the challenges basically, I think, firstly is to get artists that are actually sellable, and also getting all the proper licensing sorted out, and of course the marketing of the whole concert. And that I think is the challenge. The hardest part is actually selling those tickets and getting the right acts in, and making sure you have a good marketing strategy to make sure that everyone actually knows about your concert and supports it.
Okay, and how have you been doing your marketing efforts so far?
Well, in terms of Mojo, what we do is we actually have a 360 plan, right? So we touch every media, TV, radio, predominantly social media. So we've gone into social media influencers as well. So we currently, for my next project, we have like 30 social media influencers with a following of close to 3 million people.
Okay, to promote your next concert.
And that's just for an Indian event, right?
Okay.
So what happens is that this actually has taken off now. So also the traditional media still plays a part. So we also invest a bit on newspapers and also the good old handbills, giving out flyers at hotspots. Yeah, we do all that. So that's, I think, is one of the reasons why I think Mojo people have known us a bit more prominently the last 3 years, because we just started 3 years and we've done like 6 international concerts.
Okay, and who are these famous people that you've brought in?
Well, we've done almost every other Indian playback singer there is to be done, except for the music directors, right? Because back in 2016, when we actually got into the business, me and my friend, we thought that there's a gap in the local Indian scene, right?
That's right. They're always bringing international artists over, right? But not the Indian ones yet.
So we wanted to actually show showcase the independent musicians. So 2016, when we did the Malaysian Independent Live Fusion Festival, we actually got the support of the Tourism Ministry. Thanks to them for actually believing in us. And we actually brought down 5 acts which were totally fresh for the Malaysian market. Of course, they had a bit of English, and we featured the Malaysian band called Akasha, which is the international band as well. They've played at the World Cup as well. And we also featured the Indian artists as well. So we actually merged everything together. In 2017, we did another version of the Malaysian Independent Live Fusion Festival. We actually had local rappers. Malaysian rappers are very well known in India, by the way.
Oh, wow.
We are featured a lot. Our hip-hop stars are
Could
very
you give us
famous.
an example of who's famous in
I think
India?
Yogi B is one of the famous ones, and of course we've got so many other guys coming up. Balan Kashmir is one of them. So what we did was we had Balan and Pat together.
Previously was, I remember, Resh Monu.
Yeah.
Is he still active in the scene?
Resh Monu, I think he's still active. Actually, we went to school together, me and Resh Monu. Yeah, I think it was such a coincidence who brought him up. Yeah, I think he's still recording. He's very much into the English segment. I think he did 1 or 2 Tamil songs as well.
Okay.
So I wanted to pick your brains on what you said on segment and the growing industry. So you said concerts and working together with the Ministry of Tourism. How big is the concert or the entertainment scene in Malaysia in terms of helping tourism for the country? Is it a growing scene or is it shrinking?
I think it's definitely a growing scene. But I think what happens now is that the tourism ministry, now with Visit Malaysia coming up in 2020, right? I think we need to have more dialogues with them and see how we can actually bring in tourism. There is actually a division called MySEP under the tourism bodies, which actually talks to organizers, event organizers, exhibitionists, where you actually bring in foreign travel. So what we do is we have a KPI to meet, right? So if they give us any sort of funding or anything like that, so we need to actually prove that, hey, look, we brought in like 30% of foreign arrivals. As for the Indian concerts go, we get a lot of people flying in from Singapore, mostly, right? That's our biggest outside market, outside Malaysia. And of course, India itself. You'll be surprised. People flying from Hong Kong, Indonesia, Malaysians who go back and work there, right? They come back and actually come to watch concerts. So it is a growing market.
So a lot of these international acts you bring in will have local acts as their opening gigs? Or is it fully international acts in Malaysia?
We've tried both ways.
Okay.
We've tried opening acts. We've also tried a segment where they actually duet with the international act.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a bit hard to do because the international act has to actually agree to
practice
it.
and also the whole training part of it.
So we did that last year. So we had actually a local singer partner, a very, very prominent Indian singer. So that actually gives them a lot of leverage and of course brings the Malaysian talent to India
to
as
the
well.
next level.
How's the response so far? I mean, you say you've been in this industry for 3 years.
Yep.
You know, how was it the first time? You know, what's the number of crowd that you were?
We do it, I think our concerts anywhere between 2,000 to 5,000 people, which is actually quite high for an Indian concert.
And do you see it growing each time? Each year?
Definitely growing. Last year we did 4 concerts actually, every quarter almost. And we actually tried to tackle different segments of the industry, the younger crowd, and as well as the older crowd. So we have different acts coming in. So we actually experimented a bit last year.
So now, since you've said experimentation, I want to ask you, what is your recipe for a successful concert? What are the things that you think are the must-have to have a sellout?
I think what me and my team, we actually think about is, what would the customer feel when they walk out of the concert?
The experience that you want them to have?
Yeah. So the experience matters. So we actually build from the experience. So if at all, if we feel that the act is going to be good for the Malaysian crowd, so yeah, we bring them in, and then of course marketing the act, what do you call, across all channels. Yeah.
Okay, and what's this on the screen? You know, you've got a performer there. Is this one of your concerts?
Yeah, this is actually from last year. I think this is the Retro Rahman show.
It looks so grand. It feels like the MTV Music Awards.
Actually, we do quite a good job in terms of the setup and the production. Thanks to my team as well, the production team, and of course the sponsors and everyone who's helped out. This was actually done, I think, in Istana Hotel. We did a ballroom event last year as well.
I see.
For
So
like
not
2,000
all of these
packs.
concerts are going to be outside. Some of them are going to be indoor, ballroom.
And
Part of the experimenting was that. So we
Is it
wanted
because
to
of
do
the acoustics or the feel?
acoustic coziness.
Right.
When you have like 1,000
also your
packs.
target market.
Yeah, so there was a full house event again in Istana. So it doesn't look like Istana, does it?
Yeah.
So it's actually a ballroom. So
It's
we
like a
just converted
stadium.
the whole thing.
Wow.
And he's actually talking to the crowd. They had a fantastic time, right? So now at least the Indian artists feel that, wow, Malaysia is really, really developed in the last. I won't say that Mojo is the
a
only
destination
reason.
we need to put in.
Yeah.
to promote
Part of the
tourism
tour, right?
in Malaysia.
Yeah.
So how many big players are there right now in the concert industry in Malaysia?
Oh, I think the Indian industry, we've got 1 or 2 big ones. In terms of the English industry, I think there are like 2 or 3 big ones as well. But I think what I'd like to highlight is that, look, there's definitely some gaps or voids in the industry here today, right? See, because you have like Celine Dion coming all over the world but don't come to KL. Why? Why is that happening? So these are some of the things that I think we need to look at, have more dialogues with the authorities. Maybe it's licensing, maybe it's just
the cost of it,
the cost of
it's
it.
so expensive.
Yeah, but if Jakarta could do it, or Singapore could
Then
do
we
it,
can
which
do
is
it too.
definitely a smaller population in Singapore, right?
Yeah.
Why not Kuala Lumpur, right? Backstreet Boys. My wife is bugging me to take her to Bangkok for the show in December, right? But they're not coming to KL. So these are some of the things that we have to ask ourselves in the industry, as well as the government, and of course the licensing authorities, and see how we can actually
And is that
close
something
those gaps.
Is that something that you do with other countries? You collaborate with them. For example, you know, Singapore is bringing an artist. You know, is it something that, you know, hey, since he's going to be there, why not just bring him to KL?
Yeah, so that's called clubbing, right? So clubbing the route kind of thing.
I see.
So what we do is that if there is a potential artist that actually happens to be in Singapore and we want to do the same artist, so we do talk to them. I have not done, we have done some discussions, but we have not actually done any of those kind of concerts. But we get the other way around all the time.
Okay.
All of our artists end up going Singapore the next year or something like
So
that.
what happens if you have an international act or even a local act that's meant to be there and people are already packed, and then for whatever the situation may be, the show does not continue? Do the audience get a refund?
They should get a refund actually. So I think now all tickets are mostly purchased online. So there is a refund clause there. So I think if there's actually an issue with the performance, I think
And what
it's
is it like?
protected,
Is it like a full refund, or you have a 50% refund?
Yeah, sometimes
policy?
it's part refund, right?
Yeah, I think I've not, touch wood, haven't gone through that process, but I think
Hopefully you won't.
Yeah, hopefully it
I
won't
think
happen.
it should be a full refund because the event organizer has got a responsibility right? So if not next time, people won't buy your tickets.
Yeah,
Right?
because we've had these similar cases, when Beyonce was going to come to KL,
That's
and
right.
she cancelled her tour.
That's right.
People were just running after their refunds.
Yeah.
But
I think that gave a
Something
bad rep to the country in a way,
That's
and that
right.
may be possibly why you see a lot of people skipping Kuala Lumpur and going straight to Singapore
Well,
and
names will
Jakarta.
not be mentioned, but we did hear that a certain celebrity that was supposed to go to a certain country in the Middle East when they cancelled the concerts were talking about the fact that they were not going there because of, say, human rights violation. So there are a lot of different things that are at play. So I wanted to ask you, what are some of the security considerations that need to be done when you're organizing a massive concert like that? You're talking about people, potentially VIPs.
Yeah,
You're talking
coming in.
about disease. What are some of the things that you have to look at?
Well, basically, actually, the Malaysian government is quite well organized. We've got a body called Puspal that actually does the licensing, where I think that 9 agencies sits in it: the police, the fire department, and of course LHDN, and of course the immigration, and all the major departments sit on it. And for you to get a license to perform, you got to go through all the required what they call vetting. Security-wise, you got to say who's providing the services, and so on. Whether you need metal detectors, whether you need dogs, for example, sniffing drugs and stuff like that. So I think Malaysia is actually have a very tight rules and what they call licensing protocol. So I think having big concerts in Malaysia is one of the perfect destinations to have big concerts
And it's
in
also,
Malaysia.
Malaysia is a very safe country.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about Rihanna Grande when she performed
Sure.
in the UK, the whole tragic of the
bomb,
bomb.
yeah.
I mean,
Manchester.
we've even had, this is many years back, but we've also had cases where performers were actually shot on stage. You're talking about Selena, who was killed by a fan, and
Yeah.
there's so many different things that are going on.
Sure.
But I wanted to ask you a little bit about what you said earlier. You are organizing the Retro Rahman 2.0 that's coming up. So could you tell us a little bit more about why this one is special?
Okay, Retro Rahman 2.0. Basically, for AR Rahman fans out there, I mean, we are just doing this for the fans. I mean, I'm a fan myself. So we see that, Rahman now is a Oscar winner.
Yes.
He's actually, I think, arguably the #1 composer in India. I mean, of all time, maybe, right? And we actually wanted to take people back to how it all began, right? The 90s and the early 2000s. And this tribute to him is done by the singers that actually traveled with him,
Oh,
at that
nice.
time. So last year we had one group, right? Around 4 of them, with a pianist.
So this is what we see on screen?
Yes, correct. With Anil Srinivasan, who's the pianist. And this time we had a total different bunch of singers, 6 of them, as well as 1 or 2 who performed last year as well. We brought them back because of they were crowd favorites, right? And they actually are very versatile and stuff like that. So we wanted to show the audience, I mean, especially the younger generation, how it all started,
Yeah.
right? And of course, a tribute to the big man himself, A.R. Rahman. And that's why it's so special, because
His
people don't
music-
do retro concerts these
Correct.
days.
His music is amazing. He's not only a multi-instrumentalist,
Yeah.
but he's also been used in Hollywood movies. You're not only talking about Bollywood
Bollywood
now. I mean,
now.
the market share for Bollywood is bigger
Yeah.
than Hollywood anyway. But why? Why now? And what are some of the things that you hope to highlight about the big man through this concert?
Well, A.R. Rahman, I think you're talking about Slumdog Millionaire, the one that won him 2 Oscars, which is a of course Hollywood production, right? And he's done a few more movies, and also done major work on the theatre scene as well. Why now and why Rahman? Is because I feel that his music is changing, right? His style of composing is changing. I mean, this is a personal view as well, and I think. The so-called glory days of how it all started has to be recorded somewhere.
Yeah.
So, our shows are, of course, shot for TV as well. So the content stays on forever.
Nice.
Yeah.
And TV channels, of course, buy it. And we are quite prominent in satellite TV as well. So we want that to actually prosper. And people want to know, how did it? How were the songs produced back then, and try to replicate it as much as we can with the original singers of those songs.
I mean, Sonia, A.R. Rahman was not only known because of Slumdog Millionaire, he was famous way before that. And I think that the Retro Rahman 2.0 concert is going to be something that is a good opener, not only for the Tamil-speaking crowd or the Indians in Malaysia and those that are coming in, but also for all of the other races that identify with a lot of these iconic songs. And I'm not going to start singing because
When's the concert,
the
actually?
audio is going to crack.
The concert's on August 3rd in Star Expo Centre,
Oh, wow. That's
Kuala
coming up.
Lumpur. Yeah, so we are actually quite excited. I think the artists will be flying in next week, early next week, to do their round of interviews and stuff. So it'll be quite exciting.
Did you say August 3rd?
August 3rd,
Okay.
yes, Saturday.
Okay,
Yeah.
and how can they find out about this concert?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can get the tickets from AirAsia, redtix.com. And of course, you can call us at 012-2000-505.
Okay.
012
2000
2000
505.
505. So thank you so much. That's all the time that we have with you today.
Thanks.
But for those of you who are interested on where to get your tickets for the A.R. Rahman 2.0 concert, so do go to AirAsia Red Tix. It's showing on August the 3rd, and the number to dial is 012 2000 505. Did I get that right?
Yep.
So thank you
Fantastic.
so much. So that's the time that we have today.
you.
So stay
Thank you.
tuned for more Bernama today tomorrow with
The Nation.
Colleagues.
That's
right.
right.
and
We have
The
the Nation tomorrow.
So have a good day ahead. Stay tuned. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.